My name is Martin Adams. I'm an ethical AI entrepreneur. I've been blessed to sort of both build and sell AI companies over the last 15, 20 years, which is long before AI was sexy or, the game changer that now people recognize that it is. So I've founded Codec.ai, which was acquired last year, and Metaphysic.ai, which has been recognized by Time magazine as one of the 100 most sort of impressive, influential businesses in the world, and really sort of powers ethical synthetic media and allows companies and people to protect their digital likeness online. So I build AI. I'm a creator, and also I take my knowledge and perspective and help companies and CEOs and governments sort of understand innovation, specifically AI, and really take advantage of what I think is a hugely exciting exponential technology. So we're focusing on the wrong thing. We think that what it's done is to kind of take away human creativity, when actually it's more like a mirror. AI is like a mirror. It puts the question back to us. It breaks, because these are sort of production technologies, especially with generative AI, they break down the time and the cost and the kind of gap between an idea and its ability to be expressed. But actually, if you don't know what you want, you can't use these technologies. So it actually puts the focus back on the human brain to say, who are you making this for? What are the unmet needs that this audience has that you want to create something for? And have you thought intentionally, do you know what good enough looks like when you get a response back from the computer? So far from undermining sort of the human brain, it's actually putting that in focus. I've always been interested in how machine learning, big data, AI could sort of transform, I guess, the non-obvious industries, sort of the cultural industries, the creative industries, marketing, media, areas where traditionally it was very much reserved for human decision making. And sort of working on that over the last 15 years, really, what you need to do is you need to bring, it's a real challenge to build a team and a culture and outputs when you're trying to combine left and right brain thinkers. But if you can do that, the rewards are absolutely, phenomenal. And now, so 15 years ago when I started building these companies, this was really quite bizarre approach. Kind of, you had to convince people that it was even possible. Now with the explosion in generative technologies and generative AI, we're sort of seeing, okay, yeah, we're onto something there. But still, this mix of left and right brain thinkers all using AI and joining themselves up in an organization, that still isn't that common and still gives you huge rewards if you can get to it. So I try and bring that experience to companies of any size around the world when I'm working with them. Started Codec about 8 years ago and was trying to bring AI into creative decision making and sort of this move away from advertising horrible brand-led images towards actually making stuff that audiences cared about. And it was pretty clear that the existing sort of data methodologies to do that were not going to support this move. So everyone was using demographics and panels, and no one really knew what audiences cared about and wanted to consume. So they just marketed at them. And so it became clear that you could use machine learning to sort of build a map of popular culture based on the content consumption of anonymized groups. So you were sort of weaning advertisers off of basically abusing, surveillance data on people towards understanding groups and cohorts and communities and their passions and interests so that they could make things, content marketing, for example, and products and services that the audience actually wanted, rather than just making what the brand wanted and forcing people to watch it through advertising. So that was sort of the demand side, using AI to understand the demand that audiences have for stuff online. And then with Metaphysic.ai, because generative sort of technology was getting to a point where it was a bit more economic to use at scale, I became really interested in how do you solve the supply side of that? How can you actually use AI to be able to make content that would be impossible but for the existence of this technology? So we're doing stuff with Tom Hanks right now where we're de-aging him and the entire cast so that they're all mid-20s for the duration of a film that they're going to be in, directed by Robert Zemeckis. It's the whole Forrest Gump crew. We resurrected Elvis to to sing live on stage in the finals of America's Got Talent in front of a live audience. So these sort of impossible storytelling would be, it's kind of magical for the people that are experiencing it. But between the two businesses that I've founded, you have both AI for demand and understanding what people want, and then for supply to actually give it to them, which I think is a really cool combo. So I think that now that we can have sort of AI-powered content, we can, and we would have all seen that recently, with photo real outputs, with video as well as image and text. I think some of the previously pretty hollow sort of promises around the metaverse and spatial computing and kind of a more immersive internet experience, I do think that those will start to become true. And I think that there'll be some really interesting sort of coming together of areas. I think entertainment, marketing, media, commerce are all sort of going to start to come together. And I think that we will be able to put ourselves into the middle of that kind of confluence. So if I'm a huge Star Trek fan, I'll be able to be an extra in the new Star Trek movie, and there'll be sort of commercial opportunities for me and marketing opportunities for me to put products in there around me that I'm interested in. So I think this move towards us not just being recipients of content, but us actually being part of content is really not very far away at all. I think we just need to, as with all sort of innovations in this space, we need to ask ourselves whether it's meeting a need that audiences have rather than just being gimmicky. I think that can be cool. I think that if I have mega passion for something, I would want to be part of that. And now that you can scan my identity, now that you can have AI-powered content, you could put me in that. And the network effects from that would be great. I could share that. I'd definitely go and watch that film if I'm in it. You better be clear on that. So I think it's really, really exciting, but we just have to always ask ourselves that question. Is there an unmet need that we are delivering on with this technical innovation? I think, I like to kind of share the information about what I've seen work with others. And I think the business leaders that I have most enjoyed working with, and that I think we've managed to create the most impact, are those who are obsessed, frankly, with the market. They're obsessed with their audiences. They're not that old-fashioned kind of pinstripe wearing leader who is trying to make the world listen to their message or buy their product. It's much more humble, and they're willing and able to sort of get out of their own way and let the Northern Star of what should we do here be what the audience cares about, their interests, their passions, the things that they care about on a day-to-day level. And these leaders sort of really, it's a kind of design mindset. They're designing around that passion rather than making something that they want to and forcing people to consume it. And I think this is part of a bigger shift that technology broadly and AI specifically is enabling, which is to be focused on that market and to move decision making out of the windowless boardroom, frankly, which is detached and abstracted and everything else. And maybe an example would be, we worked with L'Oreal, huge international kind of corporate, who they have certain bureaucratic ways of doing things, I think they would acknowledge. And using data and using knowledge about the passions and interests of their audiences, specifically around sort of rom-coms and goth horrors and comedy, they designed a whole new kind of makeup product that was around their audience's passion for Sabrina the Teenage Witch. And then they launched that in conjunction in a sort of sponsorship thing with Netflix. And it was a huge success commercially and culturally. 24 hours, the whole product sold out. And just knowing that L'Oreal would not have made that bold, creative move, but for the data showing them that they could, and the kind of AI debiasing some of those decisions. So they moved faster, they did something they wouldn't have done otherwise. It was extremely, rewarding for me, and thankfully rewarding for them as a business. So I'm writing a book called The Sensitive Organization, which is sort of exploring, what's the style of leadership, what values do we need, how do we need to use technology to win in the modern world. And if you look at every biological sort of entity has sensitivity. It's a form of intelligence. And if we translate that into kind of the company world, companies also need to be sensitive to survive. It's a form of intelligence. So they need to be open. That means they need to be sort of other regarding. They need to be looking out into the world. They need to be responsive. So they need to, what they learn about what audiences and the market wants, they need to be able to sort of respond to that. So that requires a certain form of sort of egoless leadership. You need to be able to put your ideas to the side, and if the data suggests that this is truly what is in demand, you need to be able to sort of respond to that. And then sort of dynamism, you need to be able to actually look at how the market is changing over time and be flexible enough to move your strategy around it. So clearly there are types of leaders that are better suited for this. Those are important values, but also the role of technology here is absolutely crucial. So we can use sort of applied AI to understand audiences beyond demographics and actually on the levels of interests and passions. And then we can use generative AI to be quick and responsive and kind of tactile in what we get out there to audiences. So I'm really, really interested. I'm convinced that the old ideas of leadership and the old way of sort of hierarchical structures of our businesses isn't going to work anymore, and more sensitive, responsive organizations will be the winners moving forward.